Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports here with your Friday football betting bonanza. I am here as always with my co-host Raphael Esparza, a man who just oozes sexuality, ladies. And Raphael, I know how much you love the NFL, and I know how excited you are for this weekend's action, especially after that fantastic Thursday football primer that we had with the Colts and Broncos. But we're getting ready for some week 5 actions. And I think this is a really interesting week in the NFL. Last week, 15 out of the 16 NFL games were within one score in the fourth quarter, within 8 points or less. That set a record, actually. Scoring is down. Margins of victory are down through 4 weeks of the season. However, I feel like this week is the week that regression starts to reel its head. The pendulum will start to swing back the other way a little bit. I'm looking at some blowouts. That's what I'm expecting this week. So the first game that we're going to talk about is actually Atlanta heading down to Tampa Bay. This number, Raphael, has been creeping up all week. It's like the closer that Tom Brady gets to actually being divorced, the higher this number is. What are your thoughts with Atlanta and Tampa Bay?
First of all, I thought Atlanta could have been one of the worst teams in the NFL, and they've proven me wrong. I mean, they should have won against the Saints, and so that would totally make this. But I totally agree with you. This game could get ugly. I think Tampa Bay, they're getting some more offensive weapons back week after week. Their offensive line is getting a little bit healthier, so I think there's a lot of big spreads, and I think a lot of those big spreads covered this week. I think Tampa could put a beat down. I think Tom Brady has one of his better games against Atlanta. And I mean, their loss at home last week, I think there was a lot of emotions from the hurricane. I mean, the whole pregame show was about that. They were trapped. All the players were in Miami. They had to come back to Tampa for the game. I think that probably was a distraction. I think this week, full week of practice at Tampa Bay, everyone get to sleep in their own beds this whole week at practice. I think that's why I think Tampa Tom and his divorcee rumors and stuff like that go up. I think he puts up a big number. They win by double digits.
Yeah, Atlanta, I'm in Atlanta, so I obviously follow the Falcons a little closer, just them being the local team, talking to people, Falcons fans, listening to sports talk radio, all that good stuff. I kind of knew that they were going to be better than people thought they were this year. Everybody rags on Marcus Mariota, but look, he's a competent veteran quarterback. You can win with guys like that if you're playing good complementary football, and the Falcons have. They're 4-0 against the spread. They probably should be 3-1. They should have won that New Orleans game in week 1. So they've been a very good team. But I agree with you. I think this is just a bad situation. I think they're catching an angry Bucs team at the wrong time. Cordarrelle Patterson is out for 4 weeks. He's on IR. Likely no Kyle Pitts. This is an Atlanta team that doesn't have a lot of weapons to begin with, so they cannot lose 2 of their best offensive playmakers. Look, Tampa Bay has lost back-to-back games. They are angry. Tom's got his off-field stuff that he's dealing with. That guy's kind of a maniac to begin with. I think he's going to crank the intensity up to 11 this week, and I think Tampa Bay is going to absolutely boot stomp the Falcons. I have no problem laying the points here. Tampa Bay is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 at home against Atlanta, 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. Now, Raphael, change gears a little bit to a home underdog in one of the more intriguing matchups on the board. We have the Los Angeles Chargers heading to Cleveland as a 2.5-point favorite. Again, that was a number that's kind of been vacillating between 2.5 and 3 all week. Before we get into the matchup, I just want to talk some nuts and bolts about the number. Why do you think the Chargers should be favored on the road in this game? And just kind of go back into your sportsbook odds maker mode for me and kind of break down where this number came from.
Well, I think the numbers come from because people Joe bettors still think that Brissett is not a good quarterback. He's just there for the ride until Deshaun comes back. Bad loss to Atlanta, bad loss to Jets. But this Jets team is not as bad. I mean, they could easily win this week's game. And at the totally different aspect of how that loss of 1 point, which they should have won. Cleveland should have won that game. They had multiple times to win that one. I think that's why the number is. And the Chargers were one of the teams that people thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. I did. I have them as my Super Bowl team, but they have a lot of injuries. I know Cleveland does as well, but I just think Cleveland at home, if you can get to 2.5, get it, because I think this one goes down to 2. DraftKings, FanDuel have already moved it to 2 this morning. Would not be shocked if that 2.5 goes bye-bye. So I think Cleveland is the right spot for the plus 2.5. Like I said, grab it now because I do not think it's going to be there, especially on Sunday when it kicks off. But I think the home dog barks.
All right, along this same vein, before we get into a little bit more about the matchups in this game, tell me just kind of theoretically what your thought process is. We got a team at home that's let's say 2.5. Let's say this number does go down to 2. Okay, it's Cleveland at home plus 2. Do you take the 2 points or do you bet the money line? Like, what is your approach in football with a number like that? You're not getting that full field goal. You know, you're only losing cover if it's a 1-point game. What's your thought process on that?
Well, I mostly dealt with being in Vegas is be prepared for California money. So here's a California team. So normally a money line might be minus 130, 135. I would have probably posted minus 140, knowing that the California and the Phoenix people in the books were going to be looking at the money line, not taking the 2. So I would make them pay a little more than if it was a Minnesota Cleveland game. And Minnesota was the road favorite, that we wouldn't get that much money line action. So I would be comfortable putting minus 130, 135 and all that. But if I was there right now, I would put it at minus 140 because California is going to be there. California wants to see their teams win. Phoenix likes to see the West Coast teams win. So I would be prepared. If you're going to take the money line, don't take the high price. Shop around. That's why I say have multiple outs because some books may be heavy California book action. So they might have minus 140 and then maybe another shop has it at minus 130. And you can save 10 cents. Shop around for this money line because some people will be adjusting it the way how their clientele is.
And conversely, with the underdog, if you like Cleveland in this game, do you take the points or do you think there's more value in just playing the money line?
Oh, I would always say I'm not that big money line bettor. I'm an old school type guy, so I would always take the plus points because my luck, they win by someone misses a field extra point and to lose the game, and I had money line and I lost by 1 when I could have cashed a ticket. So, no, for myself, I would say yes, take the plus points. But again, shop around. If you want to bet the money line, get the best price. Don't just have one book and it says, ooh, I'll take the plus 120. And then you look around and say, wow, this book had plus 125. This book had plus 127. Why would you do that? Always try to get the most money.
Did you hear that, boys and girls out there? Eat your vegetables and always line shop. That's great advice from Uncle Raphael. All right, another game where a lot of people are taking the points. I know a lot of public bettors are always going to be on this team, but a lot of sharp bettors as well this week. A lot of people that I know and respect are on Dallas out in Los Angeles. The Rams did not look good on Monday Night Football. Dallas has won 3 in a row. Cooper is rushing. He just keeps winning, keeps it going. A lot of people looking at Dallas this week, Raphael. What do you see in the Cowboys-Rams game?
The Rams had trouble with the 49ers defense on Monday night. Again, short week for the Rams that got demolished by defense. Bosa was all over the field. The secondary was just pinpoint against the Rams wide receivers. I had the Dallas Cowboys defense better than the 49ers defense before that game started. And now Parsons is coming in where Stafford, I think, needs Tommy John surgery or something. He needs to call Jacob DeGrom and say, hey, who's your doctor? Because I might need this after the season's over. They're a mess. I would not be shocked if the Super Bowl champs even don't make the playoffs right now. Their offense is in shambles. I like the Cowboys because of their defense, not because Cooper rushed, not because Zeke's probably going to run for 30 yards, even though he gets $1 billion a year to play football. He's going to rush for 30. It's all about this defense, and the Cowboys defense is really, really, really good.
In general, betting against the defending Super Bowl champions has always been a moneymaker throughout history, especially when the Super Bowl champion is posted as a favorite the following year. I think that when all is said and done, we're going to look back on last year's Rams team as probably one of the worst Super Bowl champions, one of the worst teams to ever win the Super Bowl. And I think that they're getting exposed a little bit because of that this year. I kind of agree with you. Now, I'm not in a hurry to jump into bed with the Cowboys because Mike McCarthy can screw up a game with the best of them. And I feel like they're a little bit inflated because, beating the Giants and beating the Redskins is not difficult. So that I don't give the Cowboys a ton of credit for that. But let me ask you something, Raphael. It sounds like you're leaning with the Cowboys in this game. Let's just assume that let's say the Cowboys win. Say they win this week. And let's say Dak Prescott comes back next week. Is Prescott's return going to have any impact on the spread moving forward? Do you think that that will have a bigger impact on the spread? Or do you think if the Cowboys just keep winning, that's going to have a bigger impact on the spread? Like, what's Prescott's return going to do to these Cowboys numbers?
Prescott's not Aaron Rodgers. Prescott's not Tom Brady. So it's not going to affect the spread as much as people think it is because they're winning games with Cooper.
But in the public's mind, Dak Prescott is better than Cooper Rush. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. You don't think? Do you think if Dak Prescott were quarterback this week, that instead of that number being 5, maybe it'd be 3.5 this week? Do you think he's going to have any impact on the number moving forward?
It would probably be 3.5, 4. I wouldn't see a 3 because again, I think right now what we look at Dallas as odds makers, we see that defense. We don't see their offense winning games. They're not winning 49-20 something and all that. They're winning because Parsons and that defense. So for us as odds makers, we're looking at the defensive side of the ball. Again, if this was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady and they're averaging, let's say, 36, 37 points a game, then that's totally different. The Dallas Cowboys ain't putting up lights out on offense. So, again, it's all defensive side.
And where do you stand on the whole idea of if Prescott's healthy, he should get his job back versus if Cooper Rush keeps winning, he should keep the job? Where do you stand on that debate?
Dak Prescott's making a lot of money. If he's making that much money, he has to be on the field. So no offense, Cooper, even though you're winning games. I would think if Cooper was putting up Prescott numbers, Aaron Rodgers numbers, Tom Brady numbers, then it's hard. It's not like he's throwing for 400 or 500 yards, 3 to 4 touchdown passes, quarterback ratings a 90s or a 101. He's not doing that, but yeah, it's Dak's team when he comes back. Sorry, Redhead.
I have to actually disagree with you 100% on this, and reasonable minds do disagree on this. I am a big believer that the one thing in sports you can't replicate is momentum. Okay. And it doesn't matter what his numbers are. If the Cowboys are winning and they are on a winning streak with Cooper Rush, you do not pull Cooper Rush. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Cooper Rush. That's fine. But I don't subscribe to the theory that you can't lose your job to injury. Bull. If the team is winning, if the team has momentum, if the team is on a streak, you don't mess with that. You just keep going to it. Okay. And if, let's say they win 6, 7, 8 games in a row, you stick with Cooper Rush. Then when they eventually lose, you make that move. But as long as the team is winning, there's absolutely no way. And this goes for all sports. Could be basketball, could be football, could be baseball. If your team is winning without you when you're hurt, you don't get your job back just because you're healthy now. You got to respect the streak. And like I said, there's nothing more valuable in sports than momentum. And right now the Cowboys have it. We'll see if they can continue it this week.
Totally agree with you. But we're talking about what's the head coach you had said? What's his name again?
Mike McCarthy,
what
Dallas
team?
Cowboys.
What team are we talking about? The Dallas Cowboys. So that's if we were talking about the Bengals. Yeah, this is. I'm only saying that because we're talking about McCarthy, Jones, and the Dallas Cowboys. If we were talking about any other team, I would 110% agree with you. Momentum, you stick with momentum. But we're talking about the star in the middle of the field that does stupid things.
Yeah, you think back to when Philadelphia won their Super Bowl and Wentz had come back and been healthy. Yeah. You know, would they have plugged him back in? That type of stuff. But okay, speaking of Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl and speaking of momentum, the Eagles are the last undefeated team in the NFL right now. They are road favorites out in Arizona. Public is smitten with them. They're on top of a lot of power rankings, not mine. Personally, I still have them third behind the Bills and the Chiefs. However, this week, once again, a lot of sharp people I know, a lot of people whose opinions I look to are on Arizona this week. Some people are on them big. Raphael, is this the week that the Eagles have their bubble burst and take their first L?
You say that, but a number keeps on creeping up. This one opened up at 4. Then it was 5 on Monday. Now it's 5.5. I know it's a 4:30 game. I don't see it going to 6. I would love to take +6 with Mini-Me out there running around. The Eagles have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. Jones blistered him last year. He ran for all over the Eagles defense. I think that's the only thing that's kind of scares me. I think the Eagles, I'm sorry, they're my number one team right now. And I got the Bills second, and then the Chiefs third. So mine are a little bit different than yours. But the way they've been playing, the way they've been able to rush the ball is very impressive. And that defense is not getting credit. Everyone's talking about the Bucs D and the Dallas Cowboys D and what San Francisco's D did on Monday night. No one's talking about the Eagles D is really, really good as well. I want to say the Eagles win this one, but again, Mini Me does his stuff around there and wins games. Even though they're at home, they have not had good success at home, Kingsbury and Mini Me. But I'm rooting for the Cardinals. J.J. Watt had the same procedure I have done 4 times. Saw his story got leaked out. I'm rooting for him. I think Mini Me steals it and gives the Eagles their first L.
Interesting. I understand the theory behind why people are betting Arizona this week. They're getting a lot of points. They're at home. They're getting a lot of points. It's the buy low, sell high. People are trying to, some sharp bettors are trying to sell high on Philadelphia. I want no part of Arizona right now. They're not playing well. They should have lost last week in Carolina. They shouldn't have a win at all.
Carolina's a good team.
Really, yeah, exactly. They're mentally fragile. Cliff Kingsbury's a terrible coach, and Philadelphia isn't a mentally fragile team at all. They're going to come and they're going to run the ball down Arizona's throat, and they're going to continue to do what they've been doing. Last year's Arizona team, 100%, I'd be all over them in this type of situation. But right now, there's something broken with the Cardinals. I don't know if they're going to be the team that derails Philadelphia. I do not. I will be so very extraordinarily surprised if Arizona wins this game. They may cover. This may end up being a 3 or 4 point game. They might sneak in that back door because, as you mentioned, that spread keeps going up. That back door is getting wider and wider. So I can understand taking the points, but I'll be really surprised, as poorly as this Arizona team is playing, if they're the team that stops Philadelphia with as well as they've been playing. So, all right, Raphael, can't let you go without giving away a free play. So who do you like this week?
I'm going to take, I know people are going to laugh, and I made fun of Kirk Cousins, but last time I checked, this game is not Monday night, it's a Sunday. That Bears offense is horrible. I thought the Falcons, again, I think I said that last year, I thought the Falcons were going to be the worst team in the NFL. This Bears team might be the worst team in the NFL, even though I want them to win 6.5, or 7 wins, because I know they're in Yes, I do, because they're the heaviest bet team in total season wins. Everyone bet them under. I always like to see.
Do you know why? Lose. Because I released my 8-unit futures play on the Bears. That's all my action, Raphael. Those are my people that were pounding the.
I'm not saying you, but I've talked to numerous sportsbook operators and the 3 things they want done. They want the Bears to win 7 games, and they want anyone to win in most improved player besides Jameis and Michael Thomas, because those 2 are heavily bet for most improved or comeback player of the year in the NFL. Those 2 are probably not going to win it. That'd be kind of funny. I mean, no disrespect to you. But anyways, free plays of Vikings. Bears offense stinks. You're probably going to cash your game of the year because they stink. Maybe Carson Wentz would be the quarterback next year because I don't think Fields. What did I told people? Why throw away a first-round pick with an Ohio State quarterback? Tell me an Ohio State quarterback that's done well in the NFL.
They should have 0 wins right now. The Bears should be 0-4 right now. Instead, they're 2-2. And I'm going to have to sweat all of this out throughout the entire season. About 6 more winnable games, a lot of them on the road, but Bears lose. Oh, by the way, full disclosure, I'm a Bears fan. They are my team right there, Soldier Field. All right, my free play, I'm going back to the Browns. Okay, I'm taking Cleveland this week. I agree with you. I think the public sentiment about the Chargers is still that they are a Super Bowl contender. They're not. They've already been ravaged by injuries. They're not healthy. They're not playing as well as they were last year. I don't feel like they have the same level of confidence. This is back-to-back road games. I know some handicappers don't buy into the West Coast team traveling to the East Coast for a 1 o'clock start. I do, because I've seen it happen time and time again throughout NFL history, where a West Coast favorite comes East and they didn't get out of bed soon enough, and all of a sudden they're down 10 points. Cleveland has a top 10 offense and a top 10 total defense. Okay. Like the Browns or not, they are pretty good at what they do. And I don't think that the Chargers are going to be able to stop the run. I definitely like the Browns in this one. I don't really think that they should have been a home underdog in this game. I think this line should have been closer to a pick, if anything. But I like the Browns. So that's my free play. All right, folks. He's Raphael Esparza. I'm Robert Ferringo. We are Doc Sports, the #1 sports handicapping sports information site in the industry for 51 years running. Take advantage of that $60 free that we are giving you to use towards any handicapper, any package in any sport this weekend. We will be back with your Friday football betting bonanza next weekend. Until then, carpe diem and good luck.